Just about every home in America has a microwave oven, but are they really safe, and what exactly are they doing to your food? That's what we're going to talk about today. Before we get started, if you are new here, my name is Sarah. I'm a registered dietitian, and this channel is all about nutrition and healthy eating. So if you're into that stuff and you want more of it, make sure that you click that subscribe button. Now, with this whole microwave thing, there's a lot of talk out there about maybe they're dangerous for you or they could damage the nutrients in your food. So we're gonna get into all of that. The first thing you need to know about microwaves is that they are a type of high frequency radio wave, and they fall on this electromagnetic spectrum. It sounds very fancy, but it's just this spectrum of different types of waves. We have radio waves and microwaves, visible light, which is the light we see all around us, as well as X-rays and gamma rays, and they all fall along on this line together. Now, if you want to see what this spectrum looks like, as well as any of the other info and resources I mentioned in the video, I will have it linked below the video for you. But the real important thing to know about this electromagnetic spectrum is that not everything on the spectrum affects us the same way. So things like X-rays are what's called ionizing radiation. And this is the kind of bad stuff you think about when you think about radiation and, you know, kind of the dangers of that. That's ionizing radiation. Whereas the light you see, radio waves, microwaves, these are non-ionizing radiation. So that means that they're not going to affect us in the negative ways that we think about with the ionizing radiation, the things like X-rays. Now, with that said, if you're still not too keen about coming in contact with microwaves, the good news is that microwave ovens are actually really good. So first off, they automatically shut off when you open the door, which is a very nice feature. That's a plus. And if that's breaking on your microwave and not working, then you probably don't want to be using that microwave because that's kind of dangerous. But also, on top of that, there's a lot of regulations as far as how much microwave energy can be emitted outside of the microwave. And it's a limit based on the lifetime of the microwave and the distance from the microwave. It's some pretty strict stuff, so that will be linked for you if you want to check all that out. But the bottom line is that not a lot of microwaves are coming off of your microwave oven. And the other thing is that microwaves don't really travel very far. They really lose their potency the farther and farther you get away. So if you're just not standing next to your microwave, hugging it while it's doing its thing, then you're really not going to be exposed to much of anything at all. So now that we've talked about what microwaves actually are, now let's talk about what the microwave oven is really doing to your food. So the way this works is that the microwaves make the water in your food, the little water molecules, kind of vibrate back and forth, and this creates energy and heat, and that's what heats your food. As far as actual nutrients go, it is true that cooking in a microwave can damage nutrients in your food, but that's true of any form of cooking. And I actually have a whole video about raw versus cooked and what it means for your health and your nutrition. So I'll link that for you if you want more details. But the short story is that any form of cooking is going to damage some nutrients. So that's not really something that's negative about microwaves, it's just cooking in general. Now, for me personally, I don't cook in the microwave really at all. And it's not because I'm worried about nutrients or microwave energy or any of that stuff. It's just because it's usually not as good. Cooking stuff in the microwave just isn't the same as using your stovetop or using your oven. It's just not as good. And when I'm cooking food, I want it to be delicious. Now, one thing I do use my microwave for is for reheating food, because what I usually do is, I make dinner at night, but then I usually have leftovers of whatever that was for lunch the next day, and usually that requires some sort of reheating. I also use it a lot if I'm drinking a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and it's gotten cold and I need to heat it back up. I'll pop it in the microwave to heat it back up. So that's the main way that I use mine. Now, with reheating or cooking, I guess depending on what you're cooking, there's another thing you have to think about, and that's what you're heating the food in, so the actual container. Things like plastics and styrofoams, they can leach out chemicals into your food, BPA, all that kind of stuff, and that's just generally not something we want to be coming in contact with all the time, and it's not that hard to avoid it. Just heat your food up on a plate, heat it up in glass containers, and it's problem solved. So I think, it's something that is really easy to just swap out, so why not swap it out? But even though I use a microwave and they're not really dangerous, that doesn't doesn't mean that you have to have one if you don't like microwaves, if you still have some concerns about them. I mean, they're definitely not a necessary thing. And honestly, they do take up a lot of space in your kitchen. And I mean, people have lived without microwaves for much longer than they've lived with them. So you can still heat stuff up on the stove, heat it in the oven. You know, it's not something, if you don't want one, you don't have to have it. And actually a good replacement for a microwave, if you are looking for an alternative, would be a toaster oven, because you can still heat up food in there if you put it at a very low temperature, but you can also use it to actually cook food just like an oven. It can be really nice and convenient if you're cooking something small, or especially in the summer if you need to cook something but you don't want to heat up the big oven because it's going to heat up the whole house. You know, it does give you some more options. So that's something to think about. Don't feel like you have to have a microwave. People are going to tell you that you do, and you totally don't if you don't want to have one. So that's the lowdown on microwaves. I hope you liked this video and found it helpful, and let me know in the comments, do you have a microwave? Do you use it? And have you ever been worried that it might actually be bad for you? And if you're new to my channel and you want more healthy eating tips and nutrition info and healthy recipes, make sure that you subscribe, because eating healthy and living a healthy lifestyle really doesn't have to be complicated, and I want to show you how to do it. And if you're loving the free info here, but you're finding that you need something more personalized, don't forget that I do offer one-on-one nutrition sessions. So if you want to work with me, just let me know and we can get that set up for you. Thanks for watching. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll talk to you next time.